Alright, so today is June 3rd, 2022. I'm smiling because I just looked at the friggin' date before I started this. Yeah, okay, I was right. Good. And basically, I was second guessing myself already, kind of like, is it the second? It just felt like the first. Oh my god. Basically, all I can freaking do when I have like tired moments like that is just fucking laugh at myself. It's like these things like brain fog and like memory loss and like kind of getting confused on easy things. I guess it's just one of those things I have to kind of like giggle at myself and just be like, okay, you're dumb. I've known that for a long time. So I just kind of figured I would just kind of update. I don't want to make a super fucking lengthy video and stuff, but basically I had a YouTube account years ago, and I was like the third or like fourth person to talk on YouTube, and that video is not even on there. Um, Honestly, I don't know if I ended up a year or so later when I moved out of my parents' house and got into my own place, if I just kind of started it over and maybe didn't like how I worded myself back then. But it would have been like the third or fourth person. No, it would have been like fourth that I remember, because I remember like three people's faces in my head. Like, so it had to have been like maybe fourth. So that video is not even on YouTube, but there still are some from back in 2009 when I guess I redid the videos and kind of went more in depth talking about things. But there was just this, like, I think the last year that I made a video on my old account, which I've tried like a motherfucker to get into it, because I kind of would like to just start it over. Like, I work fucking 48 hours a week. I'm store manager. I don't have the time that I once did. But it's like almost watching some of my old videos. I just kind of like, to an extent, feel like I worded things very bad. Um, I don't know, it kind of makes me cringe, honestly. But, it was like 2013, and I had all these, like, goals of, I was gonna have internet, and everything was gonna be good. I was gonna be able to reliably get back to doing the YouTube thing, because I'd have people kind of asking about me and stuff, and how things were, and I enjoyed doing that, like giving advice. And from the time I was little, I always had that about myself. um so I just had this like plan, like, oh my god, I'm gonna have internet again and everything's gonna be all well and good. um but like there was just this fucking total downhill spiral um that had started before that video. And just from that point, like, I was just, mind frame wise, just in way worse of a position than I had previously been in, and I had some fucking low points. Um, Basically, my gram had moved back into the apartment building that we lived in, and she was like the reason I had moved in this building to begin with, other than like having my independence. And uh, I had lost my pap and then my gram. And two, as well, before all this, I'm pretty fucking sure I talked about it. I used drugs. for quite some time. It honestly felt like a lot longer. And then when I actually, like, added it up, I'd say, like, the hardcore, real dangerous shit only ended up being, I think, a year. But it felt like way longer. And it was just painkillers on up until the heavy shit. When my stepsister introduced me to it, she was kind of going down this bad road. I was in chronic pain and going to the ER and being just shrugged off, looked at as a drug addict and fucking everything else. Which this had all taken place. This wasn't just me carelessly, like, deciding to make the dumb fucking decision to, like, oh, for the hell of it, I'm just gonna shoot up heroin. It was never like that. Like, I had a fucking ex that he did drugs, and I didn't do anything with him. And he was in and out of jail, and it started when he was in jail. Like, so people would be like, oh, he did this to you, and I'd be like, he's a piece of shit, but actually, no, he didn't. It's just like, you will break your morals when you're suffering, and you're trying to do the right thing by getting help. And in turn, you're just being treated like a junkie, and your problems being overlooked, not even, like, looked into fucking at all, honestly. Like, it'd be everything unrelated to what I'd stressed that the problem was. So, this, ironically, all started after I lost my job. Like, I just went through this, like, massive depression, just kind of like, I only had a little bit of confidence at the time in myself, like, working, and I just, like, hit a point where, like, after I lost my job, I just felt like I was incapable of doing anything, and that was totally not the case. And this is where, like, the way that you're looking at your situation or yourself and getting into your head is just, it is such an important thing, because that, like, 8 years of my life jobless shit, like, makes me so pissed at myself, because I over amplified or over thought out everything so much that, like, I was totally fucking capable. Like, I'd go through this issue, I ended up having another issue, but it's like, in the mental aspect, like, I got in my own head so fucking much that I basically fucked up my own life. And it's, like, honestly fucking infuriating. But basically, I lost my job because I was too fucking honest for my own fucking good. Told my boss when I got a diagnosis, fucking finally, made the mistake of telling my boss what was wrong with me, and it was like 6 months down the road. And she had said, if you ever need to call off, or you're on a medication that's not good for you, just let me know as soon as possible. Like, give me that heads up, and I'll replace your shift. Well, 6 months later, I try a medication, and why am I thinking it was clomipramine? I could totally be wrong. There was a fucking laundry list of fucking pills that I had taken in the course of, like, I don't know how many years that, like, it's, I get confused with them. Best decision I made is stopping them, but yeah, like, my mom feared for my life. Like, I was so massively confused. She thought I'd kill myself. I was just not in a good way at all. Like, I don't think a medication had ever fucked with me to that extent. I think it was clomipramine. But, yeah, I told my boss, like, hey, I'm on a medication. My mom is keeping me with her. Can you get that shift covered? And boom, she fires me. And that's when I ended up noticing this pain, um, in my stomach. Like, whether I was trying to eat, sleep, just like exist, I just had this unbearable fucking pain. That almost felt like, I remember something stupid on the lines of like even just trying to simply like lay on my back to like, whether it's relax or sleep, it just felt like my insides were being like pulled apart like an accordion. Like my insides were like an accordion, just like being pried apart. Sometimes it was a dull pain, sometimes it was a stabbing pain. Like, it's too fucking ironic that after I hit like rock bottom of my fucking life, then like all this weird shit I'd never experienced in my fucking life starts to happen to me. Um, yeah, it could be like a dull, sharp pain. I was puking. Only time in my fucking life, that I like went to the extent of trying to just not eat. Like, if I don't eat, I wasn't like intentionally starving myself, but my logic was like if I'm throwing up, it's something within my stomach, and that's where the pain hurts. So like if I don't like eat, if I like starve myself, then I'm not gonna hurt, right? Still fucking hurt. But like just the quality of life I had was non-existent. Um, and it got to the extent of like being blown off, going to the doctor, like the ER, that I took it into my own hands. Like I literally couldn't deal with it anymore. And the worst part, like I said, was my stepsister introducing me to heroin, and me, I'd say like the addicting part was that the pain relief was immediate, and I didn't like what I had debased myself to. That like this was the life I was living. However, being a drug addict then at that stage, um, I did not lie to my family. I didn't go out of my way to like tell them and break their fucking hearts, but I never lied about what I did. So I was an honest drug addict. I did not prostitute, and I did not lie or fucking steal. Because in my mind, I was looking at it down the road, though I like had a death wish, tried to like kill myself and stuff. I'm like, if things somehow get better, I have to live with every decision I choose to make. So maybe this won't drag out for the rest of my life and things will be normal again. So what I choose to do really matters right now. But yeah, like the ER just would shrug me off and shrug me off. And they were really fucking nasty too at points. Other than the stomach pain, like I was feeling pain lower. So like I go to the ER, they'd be like, they must have like kept track of everything, these two issues I was mentioning. Or maybe it was the start of me mentioning the other issue. But they'd say like, last time you were here, you were saying about your stomach, and then you're saying that the pain's lower. Like, you can't even get your fucking story straight. So, like, where is the fucking pain? Do you even have any? And I'm like, I'm fucking telling you the truth. I am not making this up. But you're looking into everything unrelated to. I'm telling you this is my stomach. You're investigating my fucking vagina. Like, I'm telling you what the problem is. And I forget which, it was between two fucking hospitals. I'm trying to think I think it was, the one closer to where I'm living at right now. That ended up realizing, this is a kicker, like, and it fucking pisses me off. Like, don't treat me like a fucking liar. Like, if I just wanted drugs, then I'd just continue to buy drugs, but I want a fucking solution. And, like, the sad thing to me is none of this shit would have fucking happened to begin with if you would have actually looked for the problem instead of treating me like a fucking drug addict. But here, the lower fucking pain was a birth defect in my fucking bladder. Before they did the surgery for that, they ended up discovering that the stomach pain, like they did an upper GI, and I wake up out of like being put out for the procedure, and my vision's like all the more blurry. It's usually always fucking like out there, but a different kind of, like I was drugged up, blurry, trying to wake up and whatnot. And this lady's bitching at me. Did you fucking eat before you came in here? And I'm like, no. I'm like, I stopped like an hour or two before the time that you had given me for this. And I was just getting fucking bitched at. I think she had me to the point that I was crying because, like, I was trying to come to and be able to see with my fucking two eyes again. And this lady's fucking yelling at me. And, she's like, well, if you didn't eat here before you came in, I know what your problem is, because it literally looked like when I was looking in your stomach, like you ate a bunch of shit before you walked in here. And I'm like, well, I didn't. Whether you believe me or not. Like, this whole fucking bullshit journey has been trying to get people to believe me, and I'm fucking over it. And yeah, so it was gastroparesis, which is like a paralyzed stomach. And somehow, I am fucking lucky, but somehow, I ended up deciding before I started to work, my pain medicine was like over $300 fucking dollars a script, so in a month. And I knew that if I wanted to get out of the hole I was in and start working again, that I would not be able to, on minimum wage, I would not be able to pay for my pain medicine. And just took the gamble. After stopping every mental medication, I, just like stopped it, hoping for the best. Like, I hope it's gone. And basically, I got really lucky. I think it was all attributed to stress. And I think the more I got my life under control and started to work on myself and stop being so fucking hard on myself and whatnot, and just like try to look at my life in a whole new light, I think it just made the pain better. Before I stopped the meds, I had went like where I occasionally puked and stuff, but the puking was to a minimum. Like, it wasn't nearly as fucking often as it had been. Because that had me down to 60 fucking pounds and barely alive. Like, it almost killed me. Even though I wanted to die, it's like, I was trying to work on my outlook. But, I just stopped the pain meds and I got really lucky. It was gone. Like, I have a lady that I adore that comes into my work that, she, like, literally has a feeding tube. Like, her stomach, she was talking about getting something in there to eat. And then she was saying about her stomach and puking, and I'm like, that really sounds a hell of a lot like this issue that has gotten much better for me, gastroparesis. And she's like, that's what I have. Well, her stomach just got to the point of like, it will not work anymore. And I consider myself really lucky, but I still feel really bad because I've been there, like, just with like physically what it did, mentally what it did, and then like my family just like losing all hope in me, and them not believing me, and just like that one fucking thing that mattered in my life, like having my family. That is number one in my life. It has always been. And, you know, every fucking buddy was just slowly just starting to think everything was a lie to validate the drug use and everything else. And it's just like at the point that I was on YouTube on the old account last, I was diagnosed with the gastroparesis. I was on fentanyl patches. Because of puking, I couldn't take anything. I couldn't swallow pills. So, like, that was the closest thing that I had to pain relief and whatnot. But it fucked me up. And, like, going through depersonalization, you already feel like you're on a drug that took a wrong turn or a bad trip, whatever. And it's just like, I wanted a clear head, and you know, I didn't want to be on that kind of shit. But just every fucking thing went wrong. But I don't know that I had ever explained fully the being a drug addict part. But it's something now in my life. Anytime I feel like I actually had a moment today. I won't get into that. I had a moment today where I started to kind of get my own head a little bit, kind of doubt myself a little bit, get mad and pissed at myself a little bit. And then, like, literally for me, I just have to think of 8 years of trying to survive, physically with being sick and fighting for my life there, but even before that, just being suicidal, being negative, fucking everything. Where it's like anytime things seem fucking bad, it's like, is it though? I don't see how anything I could go through now is gonna top the shit it had been. It just can't. So, you know, that's what I personally fucking do in situations like that. And I'm good. Trust me, I'm going through a lot work-wise, like a fucking lot that I'm not going to talk about. Like, things are okay, it's just shitty shit coming up. To just kind of add to the stress that I already go through. And it's just like, whenever I'm like fucking just over it all, I just kind of remind myself, like, I've been through so much fucking shit, and I've lived through it, and I'm here talking about it, you know, as opposed to a long time ago where it'd be taking a handful of pills and just kind of hoping I didn't wake up. And nothing I had been through is going to be worse than anything that I could go through in the future. For the time period alone, that was 8 years. And it's just like, that's what I fucking have to do when I doubt myself. So, yeah, I just kind of figured. I said like in 2019. Was it 2019? I think so. I think it was in 2019. I said one of these days I'll have to talk about the shit storm that my life was, and never did. It's like there'd be days that I would try to start talking about it, and I just fell off. And like, almost like it was rehearsed, but it wasn't. And it's just like, I'll just hit record, talk about my life, and if it happens to come out right, then I'll post it if I feel like I can relax enough to just speak about it and not work myself up. And yeah, that's basically everything that happened and why I disappeared. I just like literally to end this off. It's like, what good was I going to be on YouTube to be giving people advice when I wanted to end my life? And I just had such a fucking negative outlook that there would have been nothing that I could have said that would have been positive for anybody to have to hear. Um, what advice would I have given that would have meant any fucking thing? Like, it's like I had to work on my fucking self and get shit sorted out before I'd be in the kind of shape to be giving people advice. Like, what was I gonna do? Say about, and I did it before, sadly. Just saying about like wanting to kill myself or like that I was gonna kill myself, I couldn't fucking take it anymore. Like, what good would that have been? It wouldn't have been. So it's just best that things played out this way and that I did the right thing and I took a fucking break. Nothing I had to say would have been good. So, but it's just gonna be an occasional thing where I talk about things, but it's not gonna be like every week or every month. It's just gonna be like, honestly, when I feel up to that. But I hope everybody's been good, has been positive, and is having a decent life considering. I hope everybody takes care of themselves and to reach out to somebody if you're ever thinking of something stupid. Everybody take care, please.